Hello, I'm Tiffany Xiao, and I'm humbled to be the valedictorian of the class of 2019. Before I begin, I would like to thank my loving family, caring teachers, and supportive friends for encouraging me in all of my endeavors. Without your guidance and your kindness, I would not have the privilege of being honored today as the class valedictorian. Back in 6th grade, which seems like just yesterday, I was overly concerned with my grades and every single point that went into my assignments, a bad habit I'm still trying to improve upon. Over time, however, I realized that the grades I received in my classes were insignificant compared to the memories I've made with my teachers and peers. Classes were by far the most engaging and unforgettable part of my time at Vista, and I'm going to do my best to recount the highlights of each one. English can be characterized by the millions of journal pages we've had to write over the years. In Mr. Verde's class, I remember volunteering to read dialogue, my favorite quote being, "It is not a bad time then, not if there's applesauce." Then there was Mr. Chen teaching us about cattywampases and showing us a song about prepositions. And in Ms. Yamamoto's class, even assignments like in-class essays were enjoyable because of the group members I worked with, even if we discussed so passionately sometimes that we were split up for being too loud. In history, we were all terrified of Ms. Weider during our legalism activity. But at least we'll never forget the differences between legalism, Taoism, and Taoism. Later, in Ms. Newsom's class, we found ourselves crawling on the ground for a gold trade simulation and piling onto a single desk to represent the population of Japan. Before long, we found ourselves in Ms. Stoll's class, trying to find her purse or listening to her stories about and learning all about our nation's history, of course. Moving along to math. At Vista Verde, we learned that math could actually be fun. I'll never forget the adrenaline in the room during our competitive games of Rendite and Poker Review, both in 6th grade and in Spanish. In 7th grade, we learned not only about probability in Mr. Smith's class, but also interesting facts about squirrels. Then on Fridays in 8th grade, we looked forward to trivia in Ms. Eckerman's class and her nutritious bacon fruit. Our science experience would not be complete without the science fair in 6th grade. Who would have known the stress of designing an elaborate machine created to crack open an egg? Speaking of stress, in 7th grade, we finally faced the dreaded health unit and all of its wonderful topics, which we will not be revisiting today. In between our evolution and genetics units, Ms. Martin also enjoyed threatening to do on-demand binder checks after seeing all the papers that we have shoved into the pockets of our binders. But it was in musical and orchestra where I could truly see the tight-knit community that is Vista Verde. In musical, we learned how to channel our inner grass during Lion King, debated whether Ricardo or Edgar was the better giraffe, and frantically tried to finish choreographing our numbers in Aladdin. Then we have orchestra, which was a controlled chaos. We spent nearly as much time laughing as we did actually practicing, which ultimately increased our passion for music. As we reach this milestone today in our academic careers, we can reflect on all of the memories that we have made over the years. While we are not all attending University High School, I'm confident that we will have an incredible high school experience, regardless of where we go. Vista Verde has equipped us with the tools and the lessons to be successful, not only as a scholar in the classroom, but as a citizen in this world. So thank you, Vista Verde, for a remarkable 4 years, during which I've grown as an individual and met some of the greatest people in the world.